welcome to Freshly Served, the healthy vegan cooking show. I'm Heather, and today we're going to make a carrot and cannellini bean dish that's going to have a cider maple syrup glaze. Lovely. So what we're going to start with are the cannellini beans, and I've cooked these ahead of time. I like to do my beans in the morning so that I don't have to worry about it. So these guys have been soaked overnight and then cooked. They take about an hour and a half or less, depending on how long you soak them for. Usually I soak them overnight, and cannellini beans are just white kidney beans. Oops. And any type of white bean will work because we're doing such a delicious sauce. White beans really soak up the flavor, so I wanted to use a white bean. Okay, so once those are ready, set them aside. If you're using canned, that's fine too. Then we are going to move on to the carrots, and I've got 4 large carrots. Use as many as you like. And what we're going to do with this is I'm not going to chop off the ends yet. They're going to come off after cooking, because what's going to happen is we're going to boil the carrots, but we're boiling them in very little water, so they kind of half steam, half boil, and the flavor will stay in these carrots if we leave the skin on and the ends on. So all I'm going to do is rinse them, get any bits of dirt off there. Then you want to find a pot or pan that is big enough that the carrots can lay flat. Now the ideal would be if you could have the whole floor of the pot covered with carrots, but because carrots are long and skinny and pots are round, it doesn't usually work out. Okay, add water, but only enough to come halfway up the carrots, or however high that would be if the carrots were actually lying flat. Mine are a little bit sideways, but that's gonna work just fine. Okay, a little bit of salt, just a few cracks. This is to help the cooking process. Just rub it around the carrots. Get this turned on to high. And then as soon as this comes to a boil, we're going to turn it down to medium so that it holds the boil, and put a lid on top of this. Okay? So leave those alone for a bit. We're going to make our sauce in the bowl that we will put our food in. This just saves on dishes afterwards. So start with some olive oil, and a dressing is the one time when I actually do use a decent amount of olive oil. If I'm cooking with oil, I use very, very little. Then I've got some apple cider, and I'm using non-alcoholic, but if you want to use some alcoholic apple cider, lovely. Okay, mustard, Dijon or stone ground is fine, and you really don't need much of that because the flavor is quite strong. And then a little dash of maple syrup to sweeten things up and make this an actual glaze. But you don't need very much of it. Okay, stir that together. And then what you're going to do is add the beans to the sauce. Reason being, beans have very little flavor on their own. They need flavor added to them. And the longer they get with the flavor, the more it gets into the beans. So let these guys marinate while your carrots are cooking, and you will have an absolutely delicious sauce. Key thing to remember when you're cooking beans is that you do not cook them with salt, because they won't fully soften. Their skins will be tough, not a good scene. Look for cans that do not have salt in them if you're buying canned beans. But what that means is we gotta add just a little bit of salt to help the flavor enter the beans at this point. Stir that together and then just set it aside and wait for your carrots to cook. Pretty easy dinner tonight. That's all there is to it. So, not sure if I can get the camera to show it, but the small bit of water that's in this pot here is boiling. And so what I'm going to do is cover these carrots up, and what'll happen is the carrots are going to turn a very vibrant shade of orange, and they are going to cook while reabsorbing all of that water. Now, you don't have to wait necessarily until all of the water is reabsorbed into the carrots. If you like yours a little bit less cooked, like me, you can just take them out whenever you feel like they are soft enough. Now, if you want to take off the outer portion of the carrot, now is the time to do it. Definitely going to take off that end bit, and then if you just stand the carrot up, you should be able to just scrape the very outer skin of the carrot off with your knife. Just like so, and then it gets only the very outer bit of skin off. Or if you don't care, you can just leave the skin on. Some people don't like the flavor. And because I used my cast iron pan to boil these carrots, they've gone a bit black from the iron. And once you get your carrots peeled to your liking, just chop them up and add them to the bowl with the beans. Stir it around. You can finish it off with a little bit of chopped fresh parsley or basil or whatever herb you have fresh, and you've got yourself a lovely dinner. There we go. A little bit of green really adds some nice color to this dish. Hope you enjoy it. You can find the recipe at healthyveganrecipes.net. I'm Heather, and this is Freshly Served.